Hello, and welcome to Tech to Tech presented by KYZEN, where we will explore common cleaning questions and answers. Let's get started. I would like to introduce KYZEN's own Ethan Mueller.
Hello, and welcome back to Kaizen's Tech to Tech. We are currently doing some case studies, and my case study is going to be on remanufactured transmissions, a dirty case study. So I have a customer who rebuilds transmissions. Transmissions are challenging to clean. They've undergone an increased demand for their product, so they're adding capacity and they need to purchase new equipment for a new line. And in the process of doing this, they want to improve their manufacturing process. They want to improve their, what I should say, remanufacturing process. And their product, they want to be able to offer their customer a 100,000-mile warranty, and cleaning is a big part of that. So the current process that the customer uses in their existing lines, they have a mix. The transmissions come in, and they kind of go through this flow as they become disassembled. And there's cleaning processes along the way, and they're doing that manually. And then ultimately the parts are being put onto a basket, and then they go through an inline machine. They're using a competitive chemistry. There's a lot of manual cleaning beforehand. They use brake cleaner, which is not desirable. And they do pre and post washer cleaning, as in they're doing added cleaning steps outside of their washing equipment. And they have some other cleaning steps as well, such as dry ice blasting. The challenge is that transmissions are complex. There's a lot of components. And when you're remanufacturing a transmission, there's a lot of dirt and grime and just overall soils that's being introduced to your washer. Transmissions, they're multi-metal assemblies. They have plastics. And of course, there's aluminum. And aluminum can make things pretty challenging for a cleaning process, especially when you have hard, tenacious built-up soils, such as grease, burnt residues, heavy oil, those types of things. In addition, they're complex. You start to take these transmissions apart, and they have cupping features. There's deep ridges, blind holes, just all sorts of complicated features that we need to be able to clean. And so again, we're looking at a new process, so we want to improve our bath life, reduce our maintenance, reduce our costs, increase our throughput, and streamline our cleaning process to where we don't have those pre and post auxiliary wash processes. We're doing as much cleaning as we can in the wash equipment. The multi-metal assemblies with some plastics. So we need to select a chemical that's not going to pose compatibility issues for our cleaning process. And again, transmissions have a lot of aluminum components. Steel tends to not have compatibility issues with chemicals, and you can hit them with some really aggressive chemistry. Aluminum, on the other hand, is a little bit more susceptible. And so we need to be careful with the chemistry that we're using, and the exposure times and the temperature and everything. Aluminum is just a little bit finicky when it comes to cleaning. The same goes for plastics. We want to ensure that the chemistry is not going to attack the plastics that we're trying to repurpose during the remanufacturing process. The tenacious soils, again, because we're cleaning aluminum, we have to be a little bit more selective and maybe a little bit more surgical with how we're cleaning. And so we want to select a chemistry that is not only compatible with all those materials, we also need it to be able to remove those soils, those tenacious soils. And so, we need to choose the right chemistry, and then we need to pair that with the right equipment. Transmissions have a lot of complex parts with complex features. So again, we need the right cleaning chemical, the right equipment. We need the equipment to be able to get into all the nooks and crannies of this, right? So it's not easy to just put a spray bar to be able to point directly at the right spot. We need a machine that's going to be able to give us full coverage, give us good impingement to maybe knock out any debris that's in here, in the fine features of these parts. And again, the sprayers are going to be fixed, and the part's going to be at all different heights and geometries and orientations. So we really need to make sure that our equipment is robust enough to clean this, and we need it to meet our throughput. The customer, that's the whole purpose of this, is they're trying to do more transmissions, and so they need their process to be able to match that demand. Another part of the challenge is in their existing process, their bath, they're changing it very frequently on a bi-weekly basis, where they're dumping their chemistry, they're dumping their bath, cleaning out the machine, and now recharging it with fresh water, fresh chemistry, which is not only costly on chemical and water, you're creating a lot of wastewater, which you need to deal with, and you're tying your maintenance people up with doing bath maintenance. And so another part of the puzzle was selecting a chemistry that is going to have a long bath life. And when we're talking remanufacturing, one of the features that we really want our chemical to have is the ability to split oil. And as you'll see, this is actually the customer's coalescer on their new wash line, and you can see just how much oil. So this is the pre-separated bath. So this is oil on top. Under this, down here in this tank is purified or clarified water with little oil remaining. The oil goes over here. You can see this is basically pure oil. And then this is cleaned up bath solution being returned to the bath. And so that's really desirable because, again, a lot of the stuff that's coming into our system, into our machine, is oil. And if we can get that out through oil separation, we're doing ourselves a big favor for cleanliness, for maintenance, for chemical consumption, all those things. In addition, M6357, which you're going to find out is the chemistry we opted to use, not only does it split oil very well, but it seems to clarify out solids. So stuff doesn't necessarily hold it into suspension. It kind of seems to settle out to the bottom, which allows us to pick that stuff up with filters, or allows us to clean it up when we do our tank changeover. This customer, which I'm going to get into, I'm getting a little ahead of myself. This customer went with M6357. They're doing an Aqueous inline machine with 4 zones, which you have wash 1, which is doing the gross cleaning, if you will. It's doing the majority of your cleaning. It's getting a lot of the oil, a lot of those debris off. And then we're going into wash 2 as an added wash. We're now, this tank is a lot cleaner. And so it has the ability to come in and apply some clean bath solution and really put the final touches on these parts to get them to that next step of cleanliness. Then we go to a rinse. During testing, we used CP90N, which is a KYZEN RP, rust preventative. And we use that at a very low concentration just to prevent any flash rusting on parts, on steel parts specifically. And then they go into a dry, where there's an ambient blow off with some air knives and stuff like that, followed by a heated blow off to really get all that water to drive away from the parts. So we're dealing with dry parts when it comes out of the machine. And what we found when we went from their competitive alkaline chemistry in their other washer to the KYZEN M6357 is we got a significantly longer bath life. Again, I think a lot of that has to do with the oil separation, the way M6357 splits oil out to the top so that we can effectively remove it from the machine. I think that has a big part to do with it, but also, I was talking about how 6357 seems to kind of clarify itself. The customer so this is a relatively new customer to us. They ran their bath for 3 months, and then there was an issue with one of their pumps that caused some contamination. Dilution. They had a bunch of fresh water come in, but their bath lasted for 3 months. And the only reason that they went and dumped their bath was because of this unrelated issue. And what the maintenance guy told me was when he went and drained the machine out, there was a lot of sludge at the bottom, which may not sound ideal, but what that, in what that told us was that it's allowing it to fall out and separate out. And he was easily able to just rinse that away to send it out of the machine and to waste disposal. So really the M6357 proved that it can clean really good and also provide a really long, nice, healthy bath life, which is exactly what these guys are looking for. Again, they're trying to throw parts through this machine. They're cleaning a lot of dirt, a lot of grime, and they don't want to have to handhold the process. So again, M6357, we're running at like 10%. They've since dialed it down. They've played around with it a little bit, and I think they settled in at around 6 or 7%, and they still get really good cleaning results. Um, so just to kind of go through it, the inline process with the M6357, we chose the 6357 because it's compatible with aluminum. It doesn't seem to impact their plastics. And this is a really big deal because it can take off the grime, it can take off the grease, and it doesn't eat away at the aluminum, discolor the aluminum, etch the aluminum, any things like that. A lot of those heavy duty cleaners that people use will not be compatible with aluminum. They'll clean good, but they're going to damage your aluminum. The Tenacious soils, again, we're doing a really good job to clean these. The heavy oil that's coming in with the transmissions, we're able to split that away and get it out of the process, which is a huge advantage. The complex parts, the new machine, I will say that vacuum degreasing also worked for this application. It cleaned really good. I think the reason the customer opted in for this, there's a lot of discussion on their end, but just the throughput. The inline machine has the capability to really have good throughput. The vacuum degreasing cleaned really good and offered some advantages from a cost standpoint, but it just did not match that throughput that they're looking for. So the complex features, the new machine paired with the 6357, it gave them a significant improvement in cleaning, reduced the amount of manual post cleaning that they have to do, and the machine, the design of the machine really has allowed them to get into some of those tight features, complex features that they weren't able to on their other wash lines. In the bath life, this is probably the biggest part of the story. I mean, cleaning is huge. The bath life has been significantly longer. We're talking from weeks to months, and we haven't even fully seen how long this bath can go without needing to be dumped, cleaned, and recharged. We think 3 to 4 months is probably where they're going to stick at, just because they want to get in that machine, clean it up from time to time. But again, the bath life, the oil splitting capability, it has been really significant. And if you look here, this is a nice cleaned up transmission that's been remanufactured and ready to hit the road again. Some frequently asked questions on the remanufacturing topic and maybe about M6357. Is METALNOX M6357 effective on steel parts? Yes, that is what's great about this product, is not only will it clean steel, but you can also throw aluminum into the mix. You don't have to worry about compatibility. This stuff is really great at burnt on carbon, which is a soil that we're dealing with a lot in remanufacturing. Will M6357 work in an immersion process? Yes. So this case study was on a spray and air process. M6357 works great in an immersion process. It actually probably works better in immersion process. And if you add ultrasonics, that's going to help you even more, especially if the challenge you're having is carbon buildup. The immersion process with 6357 with ultrasonics, it really takes care of carbon. It does a great job. Does it effectively remove carbonaceous soils? Yes. Again, M6357, it does really good work to get rid of those burnt on carbon deposits that we see a lot in remanufacturing. So I would recommend this product for parts that have that all day. Does it brighten the aluminum cases? So if you look back at this picture, this is actually a painted transmission. That's not what it looks like coming out of the washer. It does remove kind of that oxide. It removes some of that white look to the, that white oxide look. It will remove that, but it does not really give it a bright look. It does give it more of a consistent matte look, which is maybe desirable, but we're not actively brightening the aluminum. Does M6357 impact common plastics in remanufacturing? So we have a compatibility table in our technical supplement that you can look through. If you have a specific plastic that's not listed in there that you'd want to look at, that's something that we at KYZEN could take into our lab and do some compatibility testing. With this customer, there's a lot of seals and gaskets that they try to reuse, and they run those right through the washer, and it has not been a problem. They even run Tupperware. They'll put stuff that they want to with the kit in a Tupperware and run it through the machine. And that stuff hasn't been significantly impacted. And actually, on this new line, all their baskets, which I would not recommend, by the way, have gone from stainless steel on their old lines to now a plastic polypropylene on the new line. And the baskets are holding up just fine. The only reason that I wouldn't recommend something like that is because those baskets tend to cause a lot of drag out. They hold on to solution, and then you go from zone 1 to zone 2, so on and so forth, and you're just pulling chemistry bath solution through the machine with those plastic baskets. And with that, I'd like to thank you for joining today's Tech to Tech. Look forward to any questions that we can answer for you, and I will turn it back over to William.
Thanks, Ethan. Thank you guys for watching this Tech to Tech session. If you would like to discuss this topic further or have any questions not answered in the session, please contact your local KYZEN regional manager or send an email to tech@kyzen.com, and we will have someone follow up with you as soon as possible. And if you like this video, be sure to follow us on our social media platforms for more expert cleaning content.